Mom, can I have a popsicle?
No, honey, you'll spoil your...
Hey parents, tired of those out-of-control kids? Throwing embarrassing tantrums wherever they go. At the grocery store, on the playground, even at the dinner table. You've had it with parenting, but wait, there is a solution. Introducing Nap Time, the latest, most effective tool for child tantrum prevention. It's simple. Just douse a rag with our patented Sleepy Time formula, place it over your child's cry hole, press and hold gently for 8 to 12 seconds, and presto, no more tantrum.
I was beginning to think adoption was the only way out. Then a friend of mine introduced me to Nap Time. It's never been so quiet around here.
The secret lies in Naptime's revolutionary fast-to-sleep formula. Developed by military-trained scientist doctors from NASA, Naptime's powerful molecules rush to the child's brain on contact, gently inducing instant tranquility.
This is chloroform.
Already put those wallet-draining crap factories out on the street? That's okay! Naptime works in any situation. On the golf course. An awkward blind date.
I had a really good time tonight.
It even works on pets.
After we had our first child here, we regretted it.
Good evening, DES race fans and friends and family. We've got the premier trucks tonight at Chicagoland. In the booth with me tonight, we've got Jeff Dinda. Jeff, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great. We just finished up our race, and now we get to watch the premier guys race in our league, and this is awesome to watch.
It is. It's absolutely amazing to watch these guys watch. We say a week in and week out. These are the cream of the crop from DES, the best of the best. And, they keep it clean. Every once in a while, there's a mistake and there's, caution flag come out. But for the most part, these guys are clean, they're good, and they're exciting to watch.
Yeah, and they're great to learn from. Some of these guys have their own YouTube feeds and post videos, but, just to watch them in a race, broadcasting, I think you and I both learn a lot just watching these guys, especially what to do and what not to do.
Oh, for sure. For sure. It's great to learn from these guys, and it's, some of these guys out here can teach you a lot of different things that are really good to know.
Starting on row 1, we have John Crosby, surprise, surprise, good for John, and Thomas Long starting in P2. Row 2, we have Max Dinda in the 48 machine and Hunter Davis in the 88 machine. Row 3, we have Ben Kuhn and Jonathan Geist. Row 4, we have Brandon Hinton and Mark Holloway. Yeah, we, it's interesting. I think we had one EOL to start this race. So, one guy was issued a penalty. And he's gonna move to the back. Row 5, Charles Connor and Todd Perrott. Row 6, Chuck Burley and Brian Souza. Row 7, rounding out those who qualified, is Judson Curtis. And we'll check here in a minute when we see our standings just to see if we have a couple extra guys who did not qualify.
Yeah, and in the DES rules, they do have to qualify. So if they don't, they're going to get issued a penalty for the next race.
Yeah, Tyler was one of the ones who had the EUL. We see him at 15th, but it looks like he did not qualify again, and Matthew Tennant. I gave a little joke that John Crosby there, surprise, surprise, starting on the pole. Crosby's also leading the point standing so far at 222 total points. Next in line is Hunter Davis, Ben Kuhn, Max Dinda, and Brandon Hinton.
Yeah, these top guys that we see here, Crosby, and of course, you got Max up in there, and the 40 of Ben Kuhn, Jonathan Geist, Hunter Davis. These guys in this Premier League, they're always hunting at front of the pack there. The two that I really look forward to seeing on this track, though, is going to be Crosby and Hunter Davis. They push each other so hard. They keep each other on their toes. So I'm excited to see how they're going to fare on this track. It's a fast track that plays into their strengths very well. So it's going to be exciting to see that.
Absolutely. And, we're still pacing here. And, as you talk about those two, I mean, they're 1 and 2 in the point standing. So no surprise they're constantly battling each other at the top there. So, this will be interesting. I don't know, Jonathan, if you have your track up on iRacing, what's the current track temp?
Oh, you know what? I am not 100% sure on that.
Okay, no worries. We may have our producer slip in here with a nice little overlay for us.
All right, so currently the air temp is 71, and it doesn't say the track temp, but we have a green flag. This race is underway. Jonathan Crosby coming across the start-finish line with a nice jump there. Max Dindo right on his bumper. Man, what a start for Jonathan Crosby. And they're going to slide down. You've got it looks like the poltergeist truck of Ben Kuhn that just slid high. So I'm looking to see. I'm looking to see how fast it's going to. Hunter's going to be able to get up there and get behind Crosby to start putting that pressure on him.
Yeah, absolutely. And Max is giving him a little pressure right now as we see these guys, racing down on the apron. As we pulled up the current air temperature there, 71. Track temp's probably a little higher. There's some fog cover, but it shouldn't be super hot. So hopefully, we don't have we don't have slick conditions and a lot of guys slipping and sliding.
Yeah, and the thing that you're gonna have to worry about here with the track temps being a little bit higher there is the wear on them tires. They're gonna have to work that bottom line and save those tires at certain points during this race.
Yeah, absolutely. And these guys are getting a little spread out. Crosby's still in the lead. Max is close behind, but gosh, the first 6 are all within a second of the leader.
Absolutely, they are, and they're gonna stay there pretty regularly throughout.
So I was sorry, I just heard the track mic there, a little dead air. But these guys, again, he's almost the 7th within a second of the leader. So they're, Crosby's doing what he normally does, getting out in the lead, getting that clean air and pushing it. And the rest of these guys are all buying to see who can be on his bumper.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was actually trying to see if I could find what our stage breaks were for tonight.
I got them. So tonight's race is 125 laps, stage breaks at 20 and 65, and we posted that in our YouTube feed for anybody who was wondering. 20 and 65. So, here in 15 laps, these guys will have the opportunity to come in and get fresh tires and fuel.
For sure. And, that's going to play a huge part there, is to see who's going to actually come in 20 laps in and who's going to stay out and try to manipulate track position. But having those fresh tires is going to make a big difference.
Yeah, and I'm guessing, just based on the stage counts, I mean, we're gonna have some takers, right? Whether it's the top off on fuel or to get both tires and fuel. Yeah, just double checking. Again, it's 125 laps. Stage breaks at 20 and 65.
7 laps in right now, and Jonathan Crosby still leading this race, or John Crosby, I'm sorry. Setting a good pace, and he seems to do that week in and week out. And it typically comes down to being who's going to get second and third. But you've definitely got some folks out there that have gotten some wins under their belt this season that are hungry and kind of want to take that throne away from them yet again here in Chicagoland.
Yeah, boy, that's that second pack. I mean, they're too wide, three deep. So I mean, they are fighting for that second position behind him.
As we see him come down through that front straightaway off turn 4, some of them are electing to go low on the apron, which you can do here at Chicagoland. How effective do you think that's going to be for these guys tonight, trying to pick up a little bit of speed and track position?
You know, it's interesting right now as they're doing it. I'm looking at the distance they're saving. Right. I mean, you know, you always run the risk though when you do that in the apron. You know, just getting a little squirrely. The surface is different, right? There's no tire wear down there, so you know you always run the risk of maybe a little additional tire wear. You know, maybe a slip up when you're doing it. So you know the risk reward there, like you said. I mean, not sure how much they're actually going to gain on it, but we'll see them do that until their tires get worn down.
Yeah, and you know the other thing is it's an uneven surface, so you got a bump going down and coming back up. That's going to play into wearing your tires a little bit quicker as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, some of these tracks last night we were at Kansas. You know, people were you know on the apron, and after a while I just stayed off of it because it can get you loose. You know, can get you sideways if you're not careful. If you don't hit it just right, and you know, we've seen Crosby now do it a couple of laps, so that they're confident in their tires right now. Be curious to see if they're doing that. You know, 20 laps in.
Well, we know 20 laps in, they won't be doing that because they'll be hitting the pits and taking that stage break.
Yeah, of course. But even later on, when they need to make some longer runs, it'll be curious to see if, you know, if they do it or not. But, you know, again, these guys are premier for a reason. So if anybody can do it, it's this group of guys.
Absolutely. You know, I was sitting here looking at the schemes on some of these cars. You know, we just got out of the spooky season. I see a couple of them still running their spooky season trucks, but you know, guys like Brandon Hinton and Mark Holloway, Crosby, they're getting back to their usual paint schemes, and there's some good looking ones out there. I noticed Judson Curtis and his 35 machine racing the Whataburger habanero ranch sauce. That is making me want some habanero ranch.
Yeah, he's making me hungry as well. You know, interesting to note, Max was running up there in second behind Crosby, and I think we were talking, probably looking at schedules and everything else. He's dropped back all the way to 11th. I'm sure that's not a pit strategy. He must have gotten loose or hit the wall.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing because he's 6 seconds off the lead now.
Yeah, and I you know, I've seen a couple of guys tap the wall. Just didn't notice it on screen to see if it was him or not. That was one of the guys that tapped the wall.
Yeah, Chicagoland is a track that when you hit that wall, I don't know what's different about it than some of the others, but it does some hard-hitting damage to you.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be the, you know, the angle of it. You know, hard to say, but you can see the angle of it when we go through the corners, you know, sticking out a little higher. So another
pretty
one.
wide right there going through turn 4. And man, 23 got a little bit loose there and got up into the wall.
Yeah, and I'm curious looking at some of these guys in the back. You know, I'm guessing all these guys are going to come in because, you know, if you don't, I mean, it's 45 laps to the next stage. So I think they got to at least come in for fuel, but I'll be curious to see if anyone doesn't take tires. There's another little wall tap. I think that was the 32, the Poltergeist machine, and he's, I think he still has a spooky paint on as well.
Yeah, the two that I noticed that had their spooky paints on were the 32 of Jonathan Geist, and then the Poltergeist machine is actually the 40 of Ben Kuhn. And the two of them, Geist and Ben, like to run they like to run some of these endurance races together as a team, and they call their team Poltergeist.
I like it.
And now we see that habanero ranch sauce Whataburger truck of Judson Curtis.
Yeah, we'll be lap 19 when they cross the line. So we've got one to go to our stage break at this point.
Yep, one to go to the stage break, and I was just looking at the time difference here. Crosby's got an 8-second lead, and he is just continually growing that gap on Hunter Davis. So, fresh tires, getting a restart from a caution style restart, coming back in from the stage break. I'm sure Hunter is definitely looking forward to that. And we are now hitting that 20 lap mark, so we are going to have our stage break. We're going to take it to a break and see who pits and all when we come back.
Thank you, Agent State Farm.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Cut. Hey, Arnold, I'm hearing neighbor. It's neighbor.
That's what I said. Neighbor.
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 Hey, let's go again.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Cut.
Now what?
It's neighbor.
Neighbor!
Cut.
Neighbor.
Yeah, neighbor. Just like it's written on the paper. This lady is in labor!
Cut.
Look at this. This is labor. Like a good neighbor. That was the sheep. And you know it.
It's like you're cold. Brr.
Yeah, I'm cold. Bah. Neighbor.
Still no.
Like a good neighbor.
Cut.
Burr.
Bah.
Burr.
Bah.
Burr.
Bah.
Neighbor.
Neighbor.
Burr.
Bah.
Burr.
Bah! Get me under this chopper.
It's pronounced chopper.
Don't.
It is.
Neighbor! A little bit more concealer.
Hey, Arnold. Got a bit of a script change.
Script change.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mike, I know you think your truck is totally sick, but this is what I think of your precious 4x4 hang out all day with your stupid friend's truck! Push it!
Welcome back, DES race fans. We are getting ready to go back green. We're one lap to green right now. We had quite a few that actually elected to stay out from the front of the pack, including Hunter Davis and Jonathan Geist, Judson Curtis, Ben Kuhn. But then we had guys like John Crosby and some of the guys that have moved to the back of the pack that all elected to go down into pit row. Do you think the strategy of staying out and not being on fresh tires right now is going to help or hurt those front four that stayed out?
It's interesting. I think it's going to come down to fuel. If you take 125 divided by the 5 total sets of tires, you're going to stop for tires every 25 laps, right? So the guys who already stopped, they're going to have to run to the second stage. It's going to be what do these guys do that didn't pit? Do they, short pit the stage and play it that way? And we're going green.
And Hunter Davis gets a beautiful jump there I mean, launched right off that restart. And of course, Crosby getting 3 wide here. Crosby and Jonathan Geist up at the top, but Crosby's going to blow through there. So is Max. And I mean, just a beautiful display of driving. Oh, Max getting a little loose down there on the bottom. Mark Holloway behind him. Man, what a restart. That was exciting.
Yeah, crazy. And, the top 3 are guys who stayed out, but now John and Max are creeping up through, to catch that group that didn't pit. I mean, they're a little colder tires, so you're going to be a little loose, starting off, but it's going to be really interesting to see if these guys can run them down or not. It may play in the later stages of the race here. Yeah, normally, I mean, Jonathan, you're like I am, would love to have come in and practice a few laps just to see what the fuel mileage is, see what the, run 10 laps, see what tire wears, sitting at, just so I could be a little more informed when we're doing the broadcast. But, these guys are going to speak the truth, I think, with their trucks tonight, and they're going to tell us what the answer, before too long.
Absolutely. And I'm not sure what's going on with the 73 truck right now. He is falling back.
Yeah, I didn't see that either, but they're battling for the lead right now. And those 3 that opted to stay out with their tires, not only are they battling each other, but they're still pulling away.
Absolutely, and that is a heavy battle right there. Judson Curtis, of course, currently in the race lead, but Hunter Davis pushing that high line and trying to get back around. Ben Kuhn, of course, on the backside of his teammate, but then drops down low and now pushing Judson. So I mean, you'd really like to see Ben Kuhn get up there and help Hunter Davis, but he's trying to get a little track position himself.
Yeah, and you mentioned John dropped straight to the back. He's in 12th, 4 seconds behind. Didn't hear any chatter on the mic to say he had a incident or scraped the wall or anything. Maybe he's got on a different little strategy. Maybe that was intentional. Yeah, and Hunter is currently got P1. Yeah, with that high line. And now he crosses over onto the apron. He's 4 wide himself.
Yeah, Hunter is we commonly call him the Swiss Army knife. He does a little bit of everything. I mean, he's a broadcaster. He does a lot to help with race controls. He does a lot to help with running the race committee, and he does a lot. He wears a lot of hats in the league, and still finds time to get out here and race and put down dominant performances. But he is a master of making that truck 4 lanes wide, like you just said, and blocking the people behind him. He creates an air that makes it hard for them to get through.
Yeah, not only does he do it all for the league, but he's also one of the guys that gives out free advice during practice sessions. If he's behind you and notices you could be running a line different, he'll give you a pointer, help with setting up your wheel. Yeah, the guy does it all for sure.
He does, and I mean, and he makes his own paint schemes for his trucks as well, and his cars. I've actually got one that he sent me today that he did for me for the next gen cars. He does everything. He's truly a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, just looking through the field here. Gosh, the top 3, I believe, did Ben also stayed out. So now Brandon's the only one who cracked those 3 guys who stayed out. And he's, he's moving pretty quickly there through them.
Yep. But let's note the number 5 of Brandon Hinton has made his way up into 3rd place. Judson Curtis now in 4th. Chuck Burley in 5th. Ben Kuhn has dropped all the way back to 6th. Max is in 7th. Todd Perrott in 8th. 9th is Thomas Long, and then Jonathan Geist in 10th. I looked down and saw the 32 of Jay Geist and got the 2 names crossed up there for a second.
Yeah, and these guys, both in our Sunday night league and in this division, the Premier Division, they do run for stage points, right? And so it's 10 for first, 1 for 10th. So those points add up quickly. You can have an incident on track, drop to the back, but if you earn some stage points, you're still going to be competitive for points. So I'm going to be really interested to see if Hunter can, as now Mark is in the lead with Brandon just behind him. If these guys can stay out for this full stage.
Yeah, and having those fresh tires is starting to really pay off for guys like Mark Holloway and Brandon Hinton. They're starting to pass Hunter Davis here, and I'm sure Chuck Burley's going to be close behind on that pass. You got to think, is he going to try to, like you say, make it to that next stage break at 60 laps, or is he going to have to come on in and get some fresh tires before too long?
Yeah, I mean, I would bet those guys who chose not to pit may pit before the stage ends and kind of cycle through that way. Because if they do that, they're going to come out in the front. Well, not necessarily, but it may be to their advantage to do that. But we'll find out. But yeah, and I just heard Curtis come over the track. Might say he's going to come in at about 5. So it sounds like lap 40. So they're a full tank probably gets you 37 laps. They had some caution laps, so sounds like he's going to shoot for 40. So my guess is those other guys will come in around the same time, maybe a few laps later.
Yeah, I missed who gave that last call out for pitting, but let's see. Brandon Hinton just passed by Hunter. Chuck Burley's already got past him, so Hunter Davis has dropped back, now getting passed by Todd Perront to 5th. So he's fallen on back, and Ben Kuhn's now down to, well, he's battling with Judson Curtis for that 6th and 7th spot. But I feel like you say, probably somewhere around lap 37 to 40, we're going to see TRN guys pit, and then like Judson said, in about 5 laps.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, so what that's telling me is either the tires have hit the wall, or B, they're maybe 40 laps is a full tank of gas. So they're going to come in a little early maybe, but it's interesting because the guys who did pit, and 88 just called out he's pitting. It's interesting because those guys who did pit at the stage break, I mean, they're a little early, right? They came in a little early, so we'll see if they can make it. We got one sliding into the pits. It might have been Ben Kuhn.
I was going to say, that looked like it was going to be the poltergeist machine of number 40 Ben Kuhn.
And 56 just called out he's pitting. Hopefully he got a woe down. It looks like he did. That's probably he's safe at home.
He barely skid by that cone.
So now this will cycle the guys who pit early. This is going to cycle them to the front. The 40 was the one who slid into the pits. Not sure. That's the 8. That's Hunter. Oh, there's the.
That's the 67 of 67. Charles Conner. That's pretty much everybody in TRN right there coming into the pits.
I'm not sure where I am. Let me back it up and see if I can pull it in here.
I'm going to say Charles got a little lost there and couldn't find his way home to his pit box, but he finally found it.
So truth be told, I'm not colorblind per se. My wife claims I am. But I actually, me personally, I turned off everyone else's pit sign in the pits so that the only sign that is coming down is my sign. That's how I take care of that situation. on top of I turned the fans off, I turned the stands off, I turned the trees off. That helps with your video performance. But when you're pitting, there was one race where someone was kind enough to make me a paint scheme. My team owner, Brandon Hidden. And after the race, he said, hey, Brandon, can you paint me a really bright green sign? Because I can't see my sign. And Todd Perrott, who's my other teammate, said, just turn everybody else's stuff off. And that's the only sign you'll see is yours.
Yeah, I never even knew about that.
So as we've been chit-chatting about pit stops and whatnot, Todd Perrott's taking a lead. Brandon Hinton, his teammate, is in P2. Thomas Long, Max Dinda, and John Crosby, who now has pitted, and I believe he pitted, is in fifth. No, I don't know. Did he pit, Jonathan? You tell me.
I haven't seen him pit since the stage break.
Yeah, he must not have. So he's currently the last car on the lead lap. Everyone else who didn't pit earlier, who chose to cycle with those guys, they're all one lap down. Of course, they will get that back at the stage break if the top 5 pit.
Yeah, and that may have been the strategy all along. Push out the fuel, push out the tires to run the full tank of fuel out, and then get that back on the stage break. But I mean, I see the late stage game in case you have a green white checkered run, but I mean, it's a strategy that's really going to work.
Well, what's interesting is, right, the guys who didn't pit to start the race have all now pitted, right? But they have all completed those pit stops well before lap 45, right? So the second stage is 45 laps. We had 2 caution laps, so that's going to give you plus, -2. But what that's telling me is this current group of guys leading the race will have to probably pit before the stage break. Probably 3 laps before Damon, our producer, floats his pit lane. My guess is maybe if they can save, they'll try to run at the stage, get the stage points, and kind of balance it out with everything else.
This is true. Ooh, Connor getting a little bit loose there as Davis comes by him, but Hunter Davis is making his way through the pack, trying to get back on that lead lap.
Yeah, and boy, they're packed up there. One of the walls.
Charles Connor goes sliding down the bottom of the track.
I believe will stay green. I don't see anyone else involved. It was a single car.
And there's the caution. So we are now under caution. So this could be a chance for some of these guys that are a lap down right now to get that lap back.
Yeah, let's see if anybody else was involved, or maybe he came back up on track. Yeah, he's headed for the wall. That'll bring it out. Yep. Yeah, before we saw the replay, I saw him in the grass, but yeah, once he clips the wall and kind of stalls on track, that'll definitely bring out an automatic caution from us. Shall we go to a commercial and catch you guys on the flip side?
I think that sounds like a wonderful idea. We will let these guys cycle through, and we'll be back just before we go green.
This looks great. This must be yours. I found it on the kitchen table.
Thanks.
Mommy, have you seen my hamster?
Well, isn't he asleep in its cage?
Have you seen my hamster then?
No.
Tony, go upstairs and look thoroughly. I mean, sure, probably behind the bed like where you found him last time.
Okay.
Welcome back, DES fans. We are back. Green, Todd Perrant currently in the lead. Max Dinda, John Crosby's in second, Max Dinda in third. And Brandon Hinton in fourth, and Thomas Long running out the top five. That was an interesting note that we got during the break. Max Dinda stated that he ran nearly 50 laps on one set of tires.
Yeah, so that tells us they can make it probably further on tires and fuel. What was interesting is those front guys did not come in. Hunter Davis, the 88 machine, got the wave around. So, at this point, these guys out front, older tires, see if they can make it on fuel. My guess is they stayed out. They know they can.
Yeah, I'm sure though when PRN guys came in and made that pit break earlier, they took tires. So, Hunter Davis is back on the lead lap. He's got a fresh set of tires, and he's poised to try to make a move. Crosby,
he is. Yeah, go ahead. No, I was going to say Max is the first guy with fresh tires, and he just plowed through those guys with old tires, which is going to leave, like you were saying, Crosby, Hunter probably got tires. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this shakes out, because some of those guys who stayed out are falling fast.
Absolutely, and you see TRN teammate of Hunter Davis, Jonathan Geist, getting passed up. Hunter is staying right on the tail end there of John Crosby, and they are making a push through the pack right now.
Yeah, and if we can, Damon, let's get the standings up, because it looks like Brandon's fallen all the way back to like 9th or 10th, which means Todd Perrant's probably right there with him. Well,
Brandon
looks like
is back in 6th.
Yeah, 5th and 6th. Okay.
Max Dinda currently leading the race. Thomas Long in 2nd. Hunter Davis has now moved into 3rd, passing Crosby, who is in 4th. Todd Perrant in 5th. Brandon Hinton has slid all the way back to 6th. Judson Curtis in 7th. Ben Kuhn is in 8th. Chuck Burley in 9th. And Jonathan Geist rounding out the top 10. Everybody from Judson Curtis down is 1 lap down. Brandon Hinton in 6th is the last person that is on the lead lap.
Yeah, what's interesting is because those guys stayed out, all the guys who pitted, they're a lap down and they did not get the wave around. The only one to get a wave around was Hunter for the lucky dog. So he's taking full advantage of that, as is John Crosby.
Absolutely, and you put Hunter Davis in a fast machine, which he typically has, along with John Crosby. They're gonna make moves to the front of the pack. So, Max has got a comfortable lead right now, but I guarantee you the 88 and the 73 are looking to hunt down the 48 as quick as they can.
Yes, and what's going to be interesting here. These guys, we've got some guys a lap down, right? It's going to be interesting to see, do they try to take a wave around at the stage break, or do they just come in and get tires and fuel? From the stage break to the end is 60 laps. Of course, there'll be a couple of caution laps in there at the end of the stage break. So there will be another stop, without any cautions under green. There'll be another stop before the end, but it's a little bit of a shakeup here. I think with that caution coming out for some of these guys.
Indeed, and we are at lap 59 of 125. We are 1 lap from that stage break at lap 60. So we'll be seeing here in just a moment who is going to be willing to take the pits and who's going to stay out, and who's going to get the lucky dog. And if I had to guess, if he stays out, Judson Curtis will get the lucky dog. Otherwise, it would be Ben Kuhn. But we'll be finding out here in just a moment.
Yeah, and for sure the guys who haven't pitted, Todd, Perrant, Brandon Hinton, not 100% sure on John. Those guys are going to come in for sure, but Max doesn't have to come in, Hunter doesn't have to come in, so it's going to be real interesting to see if 7 on back to 11, or 12, if they can get a lap back here. And that'll be our stage break. Oh, sorry, I'm 4 laps early. I got to look at my notes sometime as well. I put on YouTube for everybody. 4 laps to go. It'll be 3 here in just a second.
65. Okay, yeah. So.
Yeah, I was spaced out.
So we've still got 4 laps of green to go. And right now, Max Dinda still leading the race. Thomas Long still holding 2nd. Hunter Davis in 3rd. Crosby in 4th. And Todd Perrant in 5th. There is 3.1 seconds between Long and Max. And then, of course, Davis is a couple seconds behind Thomas Long. And then John Crosby is all the way back 10 seconds behind the lead. So another 5 seconds behind Hunter Davis. So those top 3 they've got a little bit of a split there, but I know Hunter's trying to push that truck for everything he's got in it to get caught up there to Thomas Long, get that pass and get the Max. But
yeah, oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I would just say, it's interesting. Max is not letting up, right? So that it's kind of making me wonder, does Max, Hunter, not sure on Thomas and John, do they come in and get fresh tires anyways to get on the same, cycle with everybody? Because again, it'll be 60 laps to the finish. So, makes you wonder if they're just pushing for all they have right now just to stay out as far as they can.
Yeah, that's so true. And then the other thing that you got to take into consideration is you've got the restart. Who's going to get the jump on the restart and how are things going to shake up after the restart? As we are coming around, we're coming around on that second stage break here, lap 64. When Max comes across, it'll be lap 65, and that'll bring out the caution.
Yeah, and as soon as this goes yellow, we're going to go to a quick commercial here. Max again at first, he's get 10 stage points all the way down to Brian Souza. In 10th, he will get 1. So, some of the guys that stayed out, they're it looks like Brandon and Todd came in and pitted there early. Wasn't paying attention, but yeah, lap 65, we should be hitting a caution here, Damon. Did it come out?
All right, and the caution is out. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with you here in just a moment.
Mom, can I have a popsicle?
No, honey, you'll spoil your...
Hey parents, tired of those out-of-control kids? Throwing embarrassing tantrums wherever they go. At the grocery store, on the playground, even at the dinner table. You've had it with parenting, but wait, there is a solution. Introducing Nap Time, the latest, most effective tool for child tantrum prevention. It's simple. Just douse a rag with our patented Sleepy Time formula, place it over your child's cry hole, press and hold gently for 8 to 12 seconds, and presto, no more tantrum.
I was beginning to think adoption was the only way out. Then a friend of mine introduced me to Nap Time. It's never been so quiet around here.
The secret lies in Nap Time's revolutionary fast-to-sleep formula. Developed by military-trained scientist doctors from NASA, Nap Time's powerful molecules rush to the child's brain on contact, gently inducing instant tranquility.
This is chloroform.
Already put those wallet-draining crap factories out on the street? That's okay. Nap Time works in any situation. On the golf course. An awkward blind date.
I had a really good time tonight.
It even works on pets.
After we had our first child here, we regretted it almost immediately.
We didn't know that she'd cry so much.
Talk about defective. But thanks to Nap Time, our little Samantha here hasn't made a noise in weeks. I keep her in a shoebox.
Call now and we'll send you your very own 24-ounce bottle of Nap Time solution for only 23 easy payments of $1.99. But wait, there's more. Act quickly and you'll also receive the all-new Dream Sack absolutely free. It's compact and portable for those on-the-go tantrums. Just cover it, tighten it, and forget about it. It's that simple.
We can't breathe good.
So if this looks familiar,
I feel pregnant.
then don't wait. Order today and join the millions of Americans who just can't stop saying,
Thanks, Nap Time.
Thanks, Nap Time.
Thanks, Nap Time.
Nap Time, when they just won't shut up. Nap Time is not legal in the following states.
Try to make friends.
Want a Dorito? Hey everyone! The new containing out Doritos!
Doritos?
You make friends.
And there's your beautiful baby.
Any day now.
Really? You're eating Doritos? He's eating Doritos on my ultrasound. Do you see what I have to do?
I know.
Give me that.
Okay, Jerry, once again, everyone's Doritos have mysteriously disappeared from the break room. Now, I realize this is a workplace, and I don't want to sound like I'm accusing you.
How dare you?
Okay.
That hurts, Steve. That hurts right here. And you know what? I don't have time to sit here.
Welcome back, DES race friends, fans, and family. Premier race at Chicagoland. We are going to be at lap 70 when we go back green. Max Dinda currently, Thomas Long currently in the lead. Max Dinda in second, and Hunter Davis in third. Jeff, who did you notice that hit the pits and who stayed out?
Yeah, so they're going green here. Thomas Long gets a good jump. So interesting strategy. Thomas Long, who had already used a set of tires, stayed out, which means all of those guys who were lapped down did not get their lap back. So we have 5 cars currently on the lead lap. Max has fresh tires, so he's obviously going to get by Thomas Long, as is Hunter and probably John Crosby here not too long, possibly even Judson Curtis. So with that strategy, Thomas Long can probably stay on the lead lap in 5th place. They're all going to have to pit again. Boy, that was, I'm sure there's some guys who are not happy on their team mics right now on chatting.
Yeah, absolutely. That's, man. And, you know, I'm going to say Thomas Long, I don't think, I'm pretty sure he pitted at the last stage break and did not pit when PRN and everybody else pitted. So he's running on some pretty old tires right now. So yeah, he's going to get passed up pretty handily by most of the pack here.
Yeah, and John Crosby's making sure that paint on Max's bumper's on there well, because he's all over it right now. If it wasn't fresh paint, there would be some blue on the front of John's car as he looks to the outside.
Yeah, like you say, looking to the outside, and he's going to make that outside pass. Tried to anyway, but Max slides back down, picks up a little momentum, stays in front of Crosby. But I'm telling you, Crosby's going to push the back end of that 48 machine, and he's going to give him all he's got.
Yeah, and I saw Max blink there for a second. For those who don't know, Max is my son. He's in the basement on the Wi-Fi. I just shut down a couple of things on my computer just to make sure I wasn't hogging the network for him, so we don't get any blinkiness out of him.
Hey, Daddy, then you got to keep that bandwidth clear.
We're trying.
John Crosby going to make a dive bomb down on the apron, trying to get that low line and undercut Max there to try to get the lead, but Max is going to push down and block Crosby. But that's going to open up a gap on the high side. Crosby notices it. Hunter Davis making a move in there. The battle between Max and John has allowed Hunter Davis to get up in there, and he is going to make a move now for second on the inside of the 73 machine, John Crosby. And then you've got Judson Curtis, it looks like, trying to sneak up in there as well behind John Crosby. So this little pack right here up in the front is just really giving a exciting battle right now for the first 4 spots.
Yeah, and you know, there's 2 things. One, the top 4 all have fresh tires. Thomas Long stayed out. I believe Judson came in and pit there. He should have. So, you know, we got a whole group of cars 1 lap down. They are rooting for something to happen between these top 4, right? They are on top of each other right now. They are hoping for a caution out of this group up front. And, of course, these guys up front know if they can run clean to the end, there's a good chance there may only be 5 cars on the lead lap.
Absolutely. And, you know, Hunter Davis Davis was pushing up there in 3rd real clean, but he has dropped back to 4th as John Crosby has finally gotten that number 1 spot from Max. And then Hunter Davis in 3rd, Judson Curtis in 4th.
Yeah, you know, Max just had a little comment on the chat there. You know, here comes Matthew Tennant for second. Matthew Tennant is 48 laps down. So, you know, word of caution, if you're a leader, let him by. Do not fight him. You know, stay clean. He's probably got, you know, repairs done. He's probably clean. He probably just came out with fresh tires. So, you know, don't fight the 59 machine. Let him go.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, man.
As he gets into the wall there early in the corner. You know, we had an incident last night. You know, our leader got into a lap down car, and it was kind of the same situation, right? I mean, you know, sometimes you let those lap cars go, right? Sometimes if you're a lap car, you let them go, and there's other times where, you know, maybe you got 5, 10 laps fresher tires, and you can get them.
Absolutely. You know, if I'm sitting at the back of the pack and I see the leaders are coming up on me, I'm just going to call out, hey, you guys, you know, I'm going to take the low line, y'all take the high line, or hey, I'm going to take the high line, y'all take the low line. and I'm just going to let them ease on by. As I say that, Ben Kuhn coming up on the backside of Hunter Davis to join in that front pack on his fresh tires. So, man, we got a nice little pack of guys up here that are just, you know, really going to fight each other hard. And like you said, everybody behind Thomas Long is hoping and praying that there is a caution flag so that they can get back on the lead lap.
Yeah, and unlike Matthew, who could, you know, he can gain a lap back, right? But he's probably going to finish in 14th at this point. There's not enough laps probably for him to gain any positions. He could probably pit at some point and not gain anything. But you mentioned Ben Kuhn. Ben can fight his way back on the lead lap, right? And so Ben, if those front four guys, five guys are saving a little bit, Ben's going to push it to try to gain his lap back on his own.
Absolutely. You know, and Ben's patient enough driver that he could do it.
And Damon, if you're listening, oh, there we go. Yeah, and the interesting thing is, right, not only has Ben the lucky dog candidate, right, you know, chances are if we get a caution, you know, most of these guys are going to pit up front, probably, but, you know, he's a lucky dog candidate, but, you know, if he races his way back up in front of the leader, you know, John Crosby, they put Chuck Burley in the lucky dog position.
And indeed it would. And the other thing, too, is if the front four were to pit, it would still possibly it would move down the line and make it for somebody like Geis or Mark Holloway to get that lucky dog candidacy, because Kuhn and Chuck Burley would come back onto the lead lap pretty swiftly there.
Yeah, we see Matthew Tennant 49 laps down. You know, there's 40 something laps to go, so if he wanted to go you know, call it a night, he could pit right now, and nothing's gonna change for him.
Right. And Max is putting the pressure on, and of course Hunter Davis is right there yet again. They're caught back up with Crosby, and they're putting that pressure on him again. They are not making it an easy run for Crosby tonight here at Chicagoland. You know, Crosby typically he gets those big leads, and it, you know, becomes the John Crosby show, and it's a matter of who's going to get second and third. But Hunter and Max are just putting the pressure on Crosby tonight, and they're really showing why they say that Chicagoland and some of these later half tracks really play into their strengths. And they're, like I said, they're not making it easy for Crosby at all tonight.
Yeah, and what's really interesting, we're focusing on the 23 car. It's Thomas. He's slowing down, right? He stayed out, kept all those guys a lap down, so he's suffering on his tires. You know, hoping to stretch it as long as possible. I don't know if you know, the Ben Kuhn and those guys are all 1 and 2 laps down. If they cycled when they couldn't get on the lead lap with everybody else, if they did, you know, it's going to be hard for them to get back on the lead lap without 1, if not 2 cautions back to back.
Yeah, it would be hard, you know, for them to get back on the lead lap. I mean, really what they're going to have to hope for is, you know, once the pit cycle starts happening, that they can stay out for a little bit and have a caution before they pit. And that would be the best case scenario for them to make it through on just 1 caution.
Yeah, and you know, when we stopped at lap 65, that split up. If you split up this last stage, it'd be 30 laps. Of course, minus probably 1 lap for the 2 laps under yellow. So let's just call it 30, 65 to 95. So we'll see if these guys, you know, if anyone cuts it short. Obviously, the guys who are lap down won't. But you know, if anyone in the front cuts it short, if they're all just going to kind of come in and pit together, we'll call it synchronous pitting.
I like that. Synchronized pitting, kind of like synchronized swimming. Top three still staying close and tight on each other. From John Crosby to Hunter Davis, got a 0.39 of a 4-second split there, and then Max Stenda, of course, 2/10 of a second back behind Crosby. So they're still just putting that pressure right there on John Crosby coming into turn 2 there, or turn 1. I just got completely lost on the track there for a moment. Coming into turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, and I noticed Thomas Long looks like he's pitting because I saw his times dropping off. Now he's he's a lap down, so he's coming in early, right? He has to. He didn't pit on that last one. But when the leaders come in, he should still be on the lead lap. So he stayed out under that caution, kept these guys a lap down. He's got to come in, but again, should cycle through with these guys on the lead lap.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think everybody from Ben Kuhn back through the field is hoping and praying that they can stay out until these first 3 have made their pit stops.
Yeah, and we got 3 to 6, 7 laps, in the window if you split the last stage up. We'll see if these leaders just push it because they can, or we'll see if they split it up evenly here shortly.
And, I know that Ben's probably thinking in the back of his mind, I wish my teammate Hunter Davis would let me by so I could try to get back on that lead lap. But that would put some pressure on Hunter to try to let him by and then pick the pace back up to stay up there with Max and Crosby, who is now kind of extended that lead out again.
Yeah, and as we're getting close, probably to some green flag, stops, it could be possible that, second, third, fourth, they're just backing off a little bit. It may give Ben the opportunity here to give the leader a shot, but, we'll see.
Indeed, we will. 33 laps to go at Chicagoland. This is a very fun track. I've spent a couple of hours practicing this track, and I really enjoy it. It's a fast-paced track. It's 1.5 miles, and the way that the bank angles on these turns are, you can really pick up and hold some speed in these trucks on it.
Yeah, and as we're talking about Ben, he made a move on Hunter. Looks like he's going to make the pass on Max, and he's going to have a shot here to get John, before we cycle through on green stops.
Yeah, but the question is going to become, can he catch John Crosby, who has pulled that lead out and, showing why we call it the John Crosby show.
Yeah, for sure. And, obviously if John, his last lap or two, if he backs off, saves a little before he pits, Ben will definitely have a chance to pass him. But, it's going to be tough because if he has to pit within a couple laps after John does, he's really got to nail that pit stop to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, absolutely. He would almost have to stop at the same time as Crosby and then beat Crosby out of the pits. But as we are talking about that, the Whataburger has come up and said, hey, don't forget about me. I am still here. He is sitting in the back window of Hunter Davis.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's, for the top 4 guys, the pressure's off per se. They've got a simple strategy. I think at this point, it's really up to them. And we'll throw in, Thomas Long, who did have to pit, but he should cycle back close to the end of the lead lap. But boy, if we stay green, it's going to be a 4 or 5 car shootout for the end of the race.
Absolutely. And as you were talking and they were coming through turns 1 and 2 there, the Whataburger machine, number 35, Judson Curtis, he was making a move on Hunter Davis, but Hunter was able to fend him off and not allow him to get around. And now we've come back around and he is still trying to let Hunter know, hey, I'm here. And of course, Hunter doing the same thing with Max, and Max doing the same thing with Crosby. But Crosby's extended that lead out to over a second now.
Yeah, and 73 just called out he's coming in. So, yeah, we're right there in that window for roughly splitting up the stages. Unfortunately for the guys who are all a lap down, I mean, there's really not much of a hope unless there's a quick caution, you know, to really make this work out for you. And now Ben, you know, he's gotten himself back on the lead lap, right? But of course, he either needs a caution as well, or, you know, to cycle through to stay on that lead lap.
Absolutely. You know, that's huge for Ben to get that lap back now finally. And yeah, you know, he's got a lot of work cut out for himself to make it back around, but he is running a very very good pace right now. He's keeping that pace in front of Max and Hunter. So, you know, he's got what it takes to be able to do it, but you know, how well is he going to be able to hold that?
Yeah, 88 just called out. He's pitting. Somebody else did. I'm guessing it's going to be 88, 48, and 35.
No, it's going to be the 32 of Jonathan Geist here and team members there. Ooh, and Max slid and
Max missed the cone.
Well, that's possibly going to be a black flag coming down into pit road for Max, which would be so unfortunate.
Yeah, it is, and I'm not sure. We'll find out here shortly if he has a black flag. This puts the other guys back on the lead lap, but again, unless a caution comes out, they are going to have to pit. They're going to push it as long as they can, hoping one of these guys spins on fresh tires, cold tires. But you know, gosh, it's going to be tough to see if they get lucky enough to get back on the lead lap. The good news for Ben Kuhn, who is currently leading, he will have to pit. My guess is when the cycle comes through, he will still be the lucky dog candidate, but he is still hoping, as are a lot of these guys, for a caution.
Yeah, indeed. He is hoping for a caution, and Hunter and Max are both back out on the track, so I don't think... Okay, Ben Kuhn just called out that he was going to pit this time around. So, yeah, as I was saying, I don't think Max actually got a penalty in the pits for missing that cone. But he did miss it to the inside of the cone, so he was, you know, already dedicated into pit lane. So maybe that's what saved him.
The inside may be okay. You know, as we were talking, Brandon Hitton, Mark Holloway, Chuck Burley, they are still a lap down, so they must have pit at about the same time that the leaders did.
That is a good point to notate there, because, yeah, they are. I mean, well, we know that, and Ben Kuhn just went a lap down again. But, yeah, you know, we know that Geist pitted with Hunter Davis, so... Yep, you know, it's just it's an unfortunate play of events, but eventually, you know, somebody will be able to get back on the lead lap. Right now, Chuck Burley, if there was a caution come out, would be the candidate, as he is the first one a lap down. In our top five, John Crosby is leading again. Judson Curtis in second, Max in third, Hunter Davis in fourth, and Thomas Long in fifth. And we know that Max and Hunter Davis and Crosby are all on fresh tires, so it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to play out over the next 21 laps.
Yeah, what's interesting is John, I believe, was the first one to come in. So he came, oops, somebody just spit in as an entrance of pit lane. Not sure who that was.
And Max just called out car wrecking.
Yeah, that was a car coming into pit lane. He was off the track. It might have been Charles Connor. Was off the track. Yeah, it was a 67 machine of Charles Connor. of any traffic, so we did not get a caution, which, you know, a couple of guys were hoping for. But again, if we had a caution right now, the leaders aren't coming in, right? So, you know, to get your lap back, you know, for some of these guys, it's going to be a tough situation. And, you know, what's really interesting is John came in a little early, I believe, from Judson, Max, Hunter. So he's got a little bit of a lead to see if, A, those guys can catch him a little bit. But same thing happened to Ben, right? Ben stayed out there as long as possible leading. Chuck actually came in a little bit earlier than Ben. And, you know, Chuck is now in front of Ben, not by much.
Yeah, and, you know, that's probably going to be a battle to watch, is to, you know, see if Ben Kuhn can get around Chuck Burley, get back into that sixth place spot there, and put in the bid for a lucky dog should a caution come out somewhere in the last 18 laps.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the bottom of the standings here. Charles was the one who just spun. He was probably going to go 2 laps down anyways from pitting. He's now 3 laps down. Todd Perrant didn't notice what happened to him, but it looks like he may have called it a night, because he is just going a lap down every lap. And of course, Matthew Tennant, we talked about earlier, he called it a night, couldn't gain any more positions, and decided to hang it up. And everyone else is currently 1 lap down from the top 5.
Yeah, the top 5 still playing out pretty much the same as it was just a moment ago. John Crosby in first, Judson Curtis in second, Maxton in third, Hunter Davis and Thomas Long rounding it out. There's a 3.5 second gap almost between Hunter Davis and John Crosby. And Hunter is kind of right on the tail of Max Senda, as we see right there. And then, you know, Judson Curtis kind of got a little bit of a gap there. And then John Crosby, of course, up in the front, making this once again the John Crosby show. And Judson catch John Crosby at this point?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a couple laps fresher tires, but that's a pretty big gap to catch up. And I rewound my YouTube feed a little bit. You know, I'm a strategy guy. I love to think about fuel strategy, saving, clutching, you know, that type of thing. You know, Thomas Long, you know, kind of early in stage 2 was in P9, right? He was the one who stayed out at the second stage break, and he's currently solidly in P5. You know, he's at the tail end of that lead lap, but, you know, he can probably drive a couple of tenths slower than our leader and still stay that position. So, you know, he may have gained 4 or 5 spots from that strategy, and it may work out for him.
Yeah, you know, it very well could play out for him. But, yeah, I mean, you know, Crosby's just consistently growing that lead, running the line that he's running. And I mean, he is dipping low inside that apron when he goes down, taking it almost to the grass. And, you know, he is really putting the work in as we are on board with John Crosby, the race leader right now. And you can see him looking down on Thomas Long right there as he's trying to gain in on him. His last lap, his best lap was a 30.611, and his last lap was a 31.319. So he's not that far off of his pace as he has led 53 laps in this race.
Yeah, and what's interesting, I know Christian likes to call me our de facto points guy. You know, John, if he finishes in front, that's 4 basically bonus points for finishing first. And then, you know, if you're second, it's a point drop off for each position, right? So from Judson to Max is only 1 point. From Judson to Thomas is, you know, 3 points. So there's, you know, depending on how many stage points you have, and I know these guys are sitting there with a calculator during a race with stage points, but, you know, at this point, if you're one of the top 5, other than first place, there's not much of a difference from second to 5th, right? You're going to fight for what you can. But, you know, the biggest battle would be Judson trying to steal those extra 5 points from John, you know, at this point.
Absolutely. And you know, it's like you say, they're not thinking about the stage points and all that. I mean, what's the only thing going through their minds is racing a clean race and, you know, trying to get the best position finish that they can get.
Yeah, and here comes John Crosby on Judson Curtis. Again, Judson's not going to lose a point for this. He's actually
that's Thomas Long.
I'm sorry, Thomas Long. Yeah, you're right. I was looking at one number and saying the other. He's not going to lose the lead lap per se if the caution comes out, and the only way he's going to lose a point is if Ben Kuhn passes him. So he can back off. He can let the leaders by if he wants to. He can save a little if he needs to, and just keep an eye in his mirror for Ben Kuhn. That's the only one he's got to worry about right now.
Yeah, and he's finally going to commit to that high line and let Crosby just slide on by. That's a smart thing to do in this situation. Yeah, you're going a lap down. However, is it worth trying to cause an accident just to stay on the lead lap and then potentially, ruining the rest of your race at this point? Because with 8 laps to go, I mean, the time that it takes to get you towed in, you're not going to have time to get anything done and get back out on the track anyway.
Yeah, and of course these guys don't get fast repairs, kind of like Sunday nights. They kind of mimic each other. But it's funny because sometimes you wish, we could have a whiteboard session with, iRacing racers in general, right? To explain that situation. Thomas Long did not lose a point for that. He didn't, lose anything in the standings for that. And he played it clean. He let the leader by, didn't cause an incident. And it's not going to jeopardize, maybe 7 or 8 points if he pushed it.
Absolutely. And of course, now Judson Curtis getting around the 23 of Thomas Long there. And trying to check down on the back end of John Crosby there. Then of course you got Max Stenda and Hunter Davis back there as well. That is another battle for the 3-4 spot.
Yeah, and what's interesting is if I'm Thomas Long right now, the only number I'm looking for in my mirror is 40. Right, I might save a little bit, might drive a little bit slower, let these guys by cleanly. And if I see Ben Kuhn coming up within a second, then I start to push it.
Absolutely. And, Thomas Long is going to have to be looking for that number 40 before too long because once Hunter Davis passes him, that's the next car back.
Yeah, I see the silver in the background, and 5 laps to go. He's probably about a second maybe a second and a half behind him. John Crosby's still dominating, but Judson's 2/10 back. Let's see what happens here. Woo, it's gonna be fun.
Absolutely, Judson putting the pedal to the metal and getting up there on the back end of Crosby, and that's got to have Crosby sweating bullets because you get down to the last 4 or 5 laps, Crosby's not used to having somebody right there in his rearview mirror. But then again, you've also still got that battle between Max and Hunter Davis back for 3 and 4. That's Max has got a little bit of a lead on Hunter there, but Hunter can close that gap pretty quick. Judson though going to go to the high side and try to get around Crosby, and then he's going to switch back down to the low side and follow that low side line. And he is getting right up there on he is on the door of Crosby, and it looks like they rubbed a little bit there.
This is going to be a fight out to see if that high line can hold it. It does not. Judson looks like he's going to slide up in front of him. Slide job. Blocks John Crosby with that slide job, trying to prevent him from getting a run with the high line. Again, speaking about situational awareness, obviously John wants to win this race, right? He just powers past. Judson has nothing. Oh, and he gets sideways. Oh, he saves it.
He got sideways, and Judson Curtis got up next to him and straightened him out.
Whew. I was about to say, Judson has nothing to lose. He's missed a couple of races, had some stuff going on. He's down far enough to the point he's like, you know what, guys? I want to win. I don't care. I am going for it. He's putting John Crosby on notice, saying, you want to race me? Let's go, brother. I don't have anything to lose. And, man, John getting sideways. Let's hear your thoughts, Jonathan. Final lap.
Wow, that was just incredible. Like I say, Judson Curtis got up next to Crosby when he started to go sideways, straightened him out. He said, "Oh no, I'm not going to let you wreck. I'm going to keep you in this race. I want you to race me, and I want you to race me hard." He is holding that bottom line. He is holding clean. And I mean, he is going to take down this win here tonight at Chicagoland.
That's awesome. Nice race. Nice finish there, Judson. You know, I think both of you and I thought no one's going to catch Crosby. And Judson said, you know what? Like I said, nothing to lose. I am going for this win. I want a W.
And a W he got. Wow, what a finish by Judson Curtis. I mean, he had just sat back in the back of the pack and, you know, playing it chill, and then all of a sudden it was like, hey, I'm ready to turn this on and get up here and get a win.
Yeah, good on Judson.
Max Dinduck, congratulations on a P3 finish, getting the podium tonight. Man, that was a heck of a race at Chicagoland.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot of fun.
So Max, how was, first off, how was the track tonight, in your opinion?
Yeah, it was really loose. Like first 5 laps, 10 laps, really good. After that, it just straight fall off.
Indeed, it is. You know, you were fighting all night in that top pack. You know, at one point in time, it was, you know, you and Hunter and Crosby, and Judson was just kind of floating in and out. What was your mindset to try to stay in front of Hunter and keep it on Crosby the way that you were, and I know eventually take a lead for a little while?
Yeah, I mean, I knew Hunter, he was going to be patient with me. He would go around me if I was slower, but I feel like we were pretty even on speed the whole night. So I knew I just had to stay within Judson there. And I mean, coming to the pit stop, I just burnt my tires up in the dirty air. I mean, he had much better tires because he was in clean air. So, I mean, if I was leading there, it'd be a different story coming to that pit stop. And I mean, we were running them down after the pit stop, just didn't know really what strategy to get on to win.
Right on, right on. Well, you know, again, congratulations on a podium finish. Jeff, you got anything for Max?
You know, we're going to try to take him to the used car sales lot tomorrow because he gave a pretty good pitch to Thomas Long, and Thomas stayed out and kept all those guys a lap down. He was probably going to do that anyways, but I think that played into the top 4 finisher strategy for sure.
All right. Well, Max, thank you. Thank you for joining us up here. Congratulations on a podium finish. All right. Next, we're going to get our number 2 finisher, or P2, John Crosby, up in here. John Crosby. How does it, I got to ask this first. How does it feel to be in second?
Terrible.
Yeah. I mean, you know, normally it's the Crosby show. And tonight, Judson seemed to have the answer for you.
Yes, he did. I don't know how he did it, but props to him. He definitely deserved it. And I threw the kitchen sink at him. That's all I can say, and tried our hardest, but you know, just wasn't enough.
Right on. Congratulations on a podium finish. I mean, you're up here week in and week out, usually in P1, but tonight in P2, 62 laps led though. The one question that I have, you came in first on the pit cycle after the second stage break. Was that your strategy to try to pit in before everybody else, or were you just, was it time, you know, as far as fuel and tires?
Yeah, in my opinion, if for me, what works best for me, if I can pit first, I can get out there and some clean air, or this time it wasn't clean air, but I can get out there and just rip some laps while everyone else is, you know, coming out of the pits. So I think I had like either a 3 or 4 second lead on second place there when I exited the pits. So, and that was kind of the plan, just to get as much of a gap and then save as much as I could and kind of manage that gap for them to come up to me. I guess I didn't save enough. I don't know how, but I didn't. And yeah, just the way it goes.
I don't know that it's a case of you didn't save enough. I think Judson just out of nowhere turned on like these jets and I mean just came up from behind Hunter Davis and Max, past both of them, and before we knew it, he was on you, and it was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sitting there just kind of putting along, and I'm watching it kind of tick down. I said, okay, well, now I can kind of push, and he still was coming, and I'm like, oh, this is not going to be good. So, but I hope that was a good show for you guys. You know, second place is nothing to slouch at, and I ran out of fuel there at the second stage, and Brian, my teammate, had to push me there. So if I didn't have Brian, I wouldn't have been in this position. So big shout out to him. But like I was saying, I hope it was a good show for you guys, and thank you for putting it on. Just a lot of fun out here.
Absolutely, and thank you guys for putting on such a good show, for making our jobs easy to have something good to call.
Yeah, absolutely, we try.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's John Crosby, P2 finisher. Next up, we're going to get Judson Curtis up in here. Judson, congratulations on a P1 finish.
Thank you, sir. I really enjoyed that race. Racing with John there, that was a hell of a battle. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. It was a great battle to watch from our end. I just got to know. I mean, Jeff and I were talking about Max and Hunter and Crosby, and all of a sudden you were right behind Crosby and going for the pass, and I was like, wait, where did this guy come from? How did you manage to get yourself into that position?
I thought I had burned my stuff up there on that last run. I came in probably a lap after John. I saw him come down, so I knew everybody was throwing the dice and laying the cards on the table and playing their hand. So I thought I came in a lap after John, but when we came out on that last cycle, I thought I was just really burning my stuff up. But I don't know if I had a different line. I thought my line into 3 and 4 was a little bit goofy or different compared to everyone else tonight. So I don't know if that had a little factor into it, but the last run, man, just the grip was there, and the pedal was to the metal and it was to the floor, and it was sticking. No complaints on the last run.
It felt like, from my perspective, at some point you said, I'm down in points. I don't care. I'm going for this win. Try to stop me. That's what it felt like to me.
Well, I did start out in the back on purpose, just because I didn't want to interfere with everything going on. I've missed a couple races, but once I got a feel for everyone and the track, I did feel comfortable up there. So, I figured, if we got the speed, let's show Whataburger what we got here.
No, you definitely did that.
It's awesome. He went several times. We mentioned the Whataburger car, Jalapeno Ranch. We're all hungry now, and both Jonathan and I enjoy racing with you tremendously. And congrats on the win.
I appreciate it, man. It's always a blast racing, and tonight was just a fabulous display of DES racing there. So thank you.
Well, again, congratulations on the P1 finish there, Judson. Like Jeff said, love the. All right, well, that's going to do it for us here at DES iRacing for the Premier Truck Series. This was Chicagoland. Come out and check us out tomorrow night for the next gen cars, and then check back in with us next week for some more NASCAR action here on DES iRacing. Jeff, you got anything?
See ya.
Good night.